a direct descendant of Oromiyan, the son of Oduduwa, whom the Benin people of that era knew as a Taladera, their self-exiled prince, who later became ruler in Ile-Ife. The Benin people recognized Oduduwa and his origin
of life. So the theory of Oduduwa descending from the heaven or descending from Saudi Arabia, to me, it's a folktale. It is phantom. Oduduwa came from Saudi Arabia. Oduduwa came from Libya. Oduduwa came from Sudan. So that theory, the first theory I will be treating here is the theory of Oduduwa Walati, Saudi Arabia. How? Where?
Thanks for clicking on this channel. Please subscribe to FO's blog history and click on the notification button so that whenever we upload a new video you will be notified. The Benin hypothesis of the origin of Oduduwa is more logical than Yoruba's own, says Yoruba Man. According to Origin of Odua, he said the Ife hypothesis of the origin of Oduduwa is not logical and does not make any sense. How could Oduduwa descended from heaven with the help of a chain? Or the second hypothesis that he came from Mecca does not add up. The two hypotheses of the origin of Oduduwa according to Ife are illogical, hence, they do not make any sense. According to the Benins, they said he was their prince, a son of Ogiso Orodo, who was a king of Benin, he said. We are at FO's blog history did our research on the origin of Oba dynasty. The true identity of Oduduwa of Ife. After the banishment of Orodo, the last Ogiso under the Ogiso dynasty, for misrule, Elvian, who had earlier distinguished himself as a brave man by destroying the man-eating Osagan, was appointed as an administrator who ruled Benin for nearly 40 years. In his old age, Elvian nominated his son Ogirmin as a successor. Unfortunately, this nomination did not go well with the Edo people, who maintained that succession to the throne is always applicable to kings and not to commoners, to which class Elvian belonged. Spearheaded by Aliha, there was a serious agitation to bring back the monarch. The nation was thrown into a state of internecine war, and as a way out the elders, led by Aliha, went on a search party to look for Inkaladaran, the banished son of the last Ogiso Orodo, who had for some time taken refuge at Alife. The search party reached Ife to meet Inkaladaran, already enjoying the status of a king. The Edo people could not persuade him to return home. Inkaladaran, whom the Ife people called Oduduwa, a corrupt pronunciation of Azadawa, which Ikaladarahan told them was his name. Oduduwa was about 70 years old and was too old to undertake the long journey to Ingodamigodo. When he gave this excuse, pressure was mounted on him by the Adionizan, the 5 elders, to send his son. He felt very reluctant to send his son too. He feared for the safety of his son and needed some guarantee. To test the sincerity of the Adionizan, the 5 elders, and know their ability to cater to his son, according to J.U. Agahepa, some lice were given to Aliha to look after. Agahepa further cites tradition as saying that Aliha was able to send back the lice to Oduduwa, in Kaladaran, at Ife, after 3 years. It was this ability of Aliha to preserve the lice that gave Aliha the appellation Ogele or Ogele Nuodiu. After this feat, Inkaladaran acceded to the request to send his son Oramian, called Omanoyan by the Benins, to Ingodamigodo. Oromian entourage included amongst others the Eldigan, in Laruhe, in Hama, and Azima. They accompanied him to Ingodamigodo. They entered Ingodamigodo, Benin, through the western route via Inyakovia. In Laruhe and Azima stayed off at Husan and Okamion respectively and settled there. In Benin City, Erebor, the Ogirmin mobilized his supporters to stop Oromian from entering the city. When the Adionizan, the 5 elders, who are the kingmakers, heard of this, they kept Oromian in entourage at Agor. The Anogie of Agor took care of him, while the Adionizan, the 5 elders, prepared his palace at Husama. He was here for some years. He was not, however, crowned because of the enormous problems created by Ogirmin and his supporters Erebor. The Ogirmin continued to rule almost half of the kingdom as an administrator. He surrounded himself with soldiers and declared his new title hereditary, with the hope of passing it to his descendants who would also rule like he had done. He resisted all attempts by the Adionisen, the five elders, to dispose him of his position as administrator. The inability of the Adionisen, the five elders, to wrest the land and Ogiso's properties from Yoruba created difficulties for Oronian. He was living in fear and suspicion of the people. He could not successfully adapt himself to his new status despite the great support the Adionisen, the five elders, gave to him. He had problems communicating with people, because of a lack of understanding of the Edo language. Prince Oranian, unable to bear the animosity for very long, renounced his office. He declared that only a child of the soil, educated in the culture and traditions of Ngodomigodo could rule the kingdom. Meanwhile, he fell in love with the daughter of Oghe Agor named Ilhinwende. He thereafter returned to Ife. On his way back home he stopped briefly at Agor where his pregnant princess Ilhinwende, the daughter of the Enogie of Agor, was from. He handed her over to her father and she later gave birth to a son. The Adionisen, the five elders, then waited for the child to grow up so that he can assume the throne. At first, the child could not speak and an oracle was consulted. The oracle prescribed the performance of some rites on the playing, ARQ, marble by the young prince. After the rites, while playing these marbles his throws hit the target in excitement screamed Owamaka, "I have succeeded," which was corrupted into Awika. His curious expression of the Yoruba was a result of his training in Yoruba language by Eldegan at Huse, who was one of those who came from Ife with Oronian. Since then, Huse became a place where all Obas performed the marble playing ceremonies preceding their taking of titles. After Oronian had left, the Adionisen, the five elders, busied themselves with training the young prince in the mysteries of Ngodomigodo kingship. They suspended all their political differences until the prince was old enough to take his father's place in crown, while old Ogirmin was a very strong and indomitable character. He was determined not only to rule but also to ensure that Ogirmin became a hereditary title to be used by his descendants. Over his area when he died, he was succeeded by his son who went by the same title Ogirmin. He was not as able and forceful as his father. This character made him start losing supporters to the young prince who had grown up and was crowned, king of Ngodomigodo. For over 30 years, the administration of Benin City was virtually in the hands of Ogirmin family until 1200 AD when the boy king Elwika I, as a young king, ruled the kingdom with the assistance of his maternal grandfather Ogiegar and Idionisen. The five elders, who are also the kingmakers, took over the throne. The Adionisen, kingmakers, and their supporters, who were more than Ogirmin followers, were fully aware of the fact that Prince Oronian was Inkaladaran's son. Inkaladaran was the only son of Obiso Orodo who became Oduduwa of Ife, hence the rightful heir to Benin's throne. That is why they brought his son to come and continue the line of his father. Oronian was therefore the link between the old monarchy of Ogisos and the new monarchy of Obas of Benin. Oronian was not a foreigner or invader who had failed and assigned his infant son to the task. The Adionisen were instrumental to Oronian's coming, having been sent by Oduduwa, Inkaladaran. The Adionisen, the five elders, wanted to preserve the royal line as best as they could. If Oronian was a foreign invader, it would have been impossible for his infant son to be given so much care and protection amid anti-royalists who were opposed to the restoration and his installation and rule as a king. If they were not aware that it was the kingly blood of Ogiso Orodo that was still running in the veins of the young infant prince, he would not have lived to become a king. It is unthinkable that 31 kings had ruled Ngodomigodo for almost 2,000 years from 40 BC 1100 AD, succeeding each other on the principle of primogeniture, and for the same people to go to a foreign land to bring a foreigner to come and rule over them, that can never happen. Hence one is convinced beyond reasonable doubt that Oronian was a son of Inkaladaran who became Oduduwa of Ife. The Yoruba themselves said that Oduduwa came from the east and he was a great spiritualist, whereas Benin is east of the Yoruba area and Inkaladaran's exile coincided with that period of the arrival of Oduduwa in Yoruba land. This is what the Pres Oba of Benin, Oba Elwahe II, has to say about his genealogy.
A direct descendant of Oromia, the son of Oduduwa, whom the Benin people of that era knew as a Paladin, their self-exiled prince who later became ruler in Ife, the Benin people recognize Oduduwa and his origin, but it is not our place to force this recognition on others outside our boundaries. The history of the world is a shared one, and there will certainly be unexpected connections in future. This is thus a time for unity and not divisiveness. A time for mutual respect, recognizing that our wholeness as people is so much more than the sum of our parts. Gloribus Unum.
Please sit down and listen to Order Omoyami Omutiliwa.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. As promised that I'll be live by 2 p.m. today to discuss about the topic I raised yesterday. I've been raising this issue severally, and there have been several opinions about the Oduduwa version of Yoruba and so on and so forth. So this is the reason why some called me series of names. I don't care. Some said I haven't provided evidence or evidences in this regard. And I have said it time without number that every history must be logical. It must appeal to our reasoning faculty. You can't tell me that it's dog that gave birth to lion, and you expect a reasonable person to just accept that. That is why we do say we should be trained thinkers. Why should we be trained as thinkers? Simply because thinkers are people who spot problems and they strive to provide solution to such. As this regard, I've done a lot about the historical foundation of various towns in Lagos. We have been able to juxtapose the issue of the Awori of the Central Group, the Awori of the Lagoon, and the Eastern part. It is on record that I've been able to provide evidences in this regard, and by so doing, we've been able to clear some certain points. But being logical also, I have been asking this question severally. Someone called me Oduduwa, and I told the person point blank that I am not one of his descendants. Me she Oduduwa, and only why? Should be Yoruba man, something like that. And I said yes. I am a Yoruba man. I have Benin origin also. So I've been trying to gather information regarding to this Oduduwa. This prompted me for the third time to post that I am of the thought. It's a school that Oduduwa is not the father of Yoruba. I read a lot of comments. There was one I read. Billy Somi, a friend of mine, was attacking me. All I just decided to do was let me just allow him hear whatever his view is or his views are, and I gave a listening ear, and all I could conclude that he lacks idea in that capacity. And also, a very good friend of mine from primary school days and the secondary school days, Abiola Joseph, he always come from this point that Oduduwa is the father of modern Yoruba. Which one is modern Yoruba? Which one is primitive Yoruba? Yoruba is Yoruba. Simple as ABC. So I am coming from series of angles today, and I would like probably a friend of mine who wants this, Yinka Ayegusi, a secondary school mate. I wish he would listen to this today. From Cradle, since I have heard Oduduwa is the father of Yoruba, and I watched a movie there, Oduduwa. I questioned that movie back then. I was probably in JSS2 or JSS3 then. I questioned that movie. Like, at the start of the movie, a Shane came down. Shane Wale. And someone just descended from nowhere. And all of a sudden, if people welcome the person and made him the king. In that own video, then, logically, one could question such. Someone just came down from heaven of Shane Wale and of Shoba. I do question them from the first point. You can hopefully is watching. The first point is this: the Ife is shared. When people were existing before he came to Ife, the answer is yes. People were existing in Ife as a then. That's the first point. If people were existing, don't they have their mode of life, their culture? Even in that movie, before he came, people were drumming, they were singing, they have their mode of life. So the theory of Oduduwa descending from the heaven or descending from Saudi Arabia, to me, it's a folktale. It is phantom. Irọ́ pátápátá ni. Irọ́ pátápátá ni. Oduduwa came from Saudi Arabia. Oduduwa came from Libya. Oduduwa came from Sudan. Ibi mélòó ló ti fẹ́ wá gan sef. So that theory, the first theory I will be treating here is the theory of Oduduwa wá láti Saudi Arabia. How? Where? Báwo ló ṣe ṣẹlẹ̀? There's no explanation towards that. Middle East is very far to Ife. Ó jìn gan. Even over Lokanoko, you want to use jazz to or whatever spiritual power. At least it will take a while. Báwo ló ṣe wá dé Ife láti Saudi Arabia? That looks so vague. Kusibu Shelewa láti Saudi Arabia was only during the war of the Holy Prophet. When did that happen? Let's look at history. Show when nìkan ló wà ní Saudi Arabia tí Sheni fi gbé wá sí Ifẹ̀. Is it the only one? Or let's say, was it the only one existing there? So that, I think the people that acted that movie and people supporting this should just bury this, please. Let us relay history as it is. Because this is what we were taught in JSS, so I could remember. That oh, tell one wa, because talk one here, and bad shit, they should ban here. For be more, only sabe, but more so fun wa pe o ba àwọn èèyàn ní Ifẹ̀. So if he met people at Ifẹ̀, who are these people? Ṣáwọn yẹn wash off ni, wọn ní family. Èdè wo làwọn yẹn sọ nígbà yẹn ṣe bí Yorùbá iná ló ń sọ. How is he now the father of that? A Yoruba, and second part, they said if it was the only place existing as are there, from Ishedaye when God created this world. The truth is that various places have been existing, and we have places that were void then, which people later settle on. But to tell me that if any condo exists as at that time, that is pure lies. One of the commentator said, then one saw Yoruba. A Saudi Arabia man now brought Yoruba. It is vague. It doesn't come into anywhere. That's the first point. Some said is the modern father of modern Yoruba. Good. Yes, in life, I might have discovered let me come from the point of science. Discover an element, just like that thing did, and provided theories that atom can neither be created nor destroyed. But the like of Rutherford came after him. Wọ́n tún iṣẹ́ yẹn ṣe. Ìpè atom ní iṣẹ́ tẹ́ ṣe ò dá o. But as of today, it can be destroyed and another atom can be generated from it. That is said, atom is the smallest particle of an element. Gbogbo chemistry student or science student gbọ́dọ̀ mọ̀ ẹ́ lórí. And these people, these newest scientists, they came that baba ọ̀rọ̀ tẹ́ sọ ó dá torí ẹ̀yin lẹ ṣàtọ̀nà ẹ̀ o, but nínú atom a ní proton, a ní neutron, a ní electron. So by that, atom is not the smallest particle of an element. Ìyẹn ló pè ní modern modification of that in atomic theory. When people now say Oduduwa is a father of modern Yoruba, good. What did he modernize? Gogon. That's the question. The question I asked, kí ló modernize Gogon? Is it the way the Yoruba dress as a then? When he came, he changed it. What were we putting on as a then? What were the Yoruba putting on as a then? Wọ́n máa sọ fún wa nǹkan tó changes, what Oduduwa change it to. They need to tell us. Clothing aspect, the food we eat, the Yoruba, what type of food do they eat before he came? Àbí wọn ló ń jẹ tó ń jẹ ni? If it is ẹ̀bà ló ń jẹ kó tó dé, kí ló ń modernize ẹ̀ sí? So these people, we have many angles. War. Who can tell us how many wars Oduduwa fought? Only points are because people the Yoruba people have been fighting war as a then before he even came. So kí ni modernization to ṣe it was the one that brought gun for them, because let's assume we were Yoruba people were fighting war with charm or whatever spiritual power. When he came, we can say he was the one that introduced gun. That is modernization. But people have not been able to see all this. They just another theory is the father of modern Yoruba. It's something I find all students. It's something I find like we students or we the little letter one around there. We must proceed beyond what they have established. So the modernization is out of it, because I haven't seen anything they modernize. They said it's time finding kingdom, oríṣiríṣi kingdom àwọn ọmọ ẹ̀. So are they telling us as a then kò síbi kankan tó lọ́ba? And if it was the time of the holy prophet, as they said, ló wá gbógun holy prophet lólè. Oh, you want to live in various places. No, we don't have Nigeria there. We call each places, we call their place country, like Oto. When you see intelligence report of 1937, Oman Peo and Welu Kekeke and Wolu name country because they are on their own. Egba was a country then. Abeokuta, Ebadu was a country. Ojo was a country. Iba was a country. Ilaje was a country as a then. So what are they saying? Are they saying that as a then ní ọba ẹnìkankan lọ́ba ń gbà yẹn òun ló gbádé wá, àwọn kan ọba dé ẹnìkan ló gbẹ́ṣin wá ó fẹ́ ṣe cross omi? I don't. So all these things look for thing. I will now come from the angle, the Benin version. I read they said Oduduwa happens to be a prince in Benin. That it was a tradition that the first child of a king will always succeed him in Benin. I guess there was a conspiracy against him, according to what they relate. and he needed to run or for his life. And he ran. They said, Opo is running, he ran to Ife. Before I proceed, I took this word, I look at it. It is easier for someone to move from Benin to Ife or from Ife to Benin. Easy, unlike Yonfi, Sheni, Walati, Saudi Arabia, Latom. They now said, as time goes on, they needed to come back to find their king. They brought some chiefs, which I could still remember, Ulia, to go and locate him. And they found out that he was at Ife. They went to him, according to the history, that he should come back to his father's throne. From the historical evidences, he told them, well, I want to know if you people can take care of your king, Shelley Tojo Obayin. We're told that he was given, he gave them in Kwabemi, live animal also, to go and take care for good 3 years, and they should return it back to him. And these people left with it, and after 3 years, they returned that this is what you gave us, and we have really taken good care of it. This is it. And he told them, due to his age, he will not be able to go back to Benin, but he told them he's going to give them someone, which is Oromio. And Oromio went with them. Before I proceed, I like analyzing events one by one. If there is no nexus between someone and someone, that person will not say, Ki omo ewa lo si ile. It shows that there is a nexus, and he was able to recognize his people. Lo fini koro mi o pada lo si ile. From his, yes, in that movie, àwọn tó bá ṣì lè rántí, that Oduduwa, they did not narrate it like that, but Oromio in that movie went to Benin. But he went to Benin as if he was the one that went to create Benin, nínú film Toshe. But today, all facts indicate that Benin Empire has been existing. And even the empire that the British encountered. So it shows that Oduduwa Ojumono. So Oromio went back to Benin to become the king, but he could not speak the dialect, and that was the barrier he had. And he stayed for some years, and where he couldn't ascend the throne due to language barrier, he impregnated someone within the axis, and the person gave birth to a male child. Oromio could not ascend the throne, and he left. That's why in that movie they say, no, it is not real. Let us get history and match them together with facts. So the Benin claims that he happens to be from them and is a prince. And I now look at it. Omo lo si Benin. Omo yen ò lè jọba, but ó bímọ ọmọ yen náà tún jọba. It shows that Oromio did not become king there, but ọmọ tó ń bí, that means pé ẹ̀jẹ̀ bàbá wọn náà ló ṣì ń lọ sí ibẹ̀. Aside the one they were telling us that Odofe abi Ogbabi Konde Ife. So I match this. I noticed that one is weighty. One is weighty and one sound logical. Aside the one they cannot say this is where he is. I have been asked Ebolo Oduduwa to nobody, but it is on record that àlejò ni. So báwo l'àlejò ṣe máa jẹ́ ọ̀gá onílé? Àti Ifẹ̀, they have Ọbàtálá now. They have people existing. So let this issue of Oduduwa and Baba Yoruba, people of substance, historical researchers, professors, please, they should let's get this fact right instead of mislead our oríṣiríṣi. And this is what we will tell our younger ones in secondary school. Ben, I guess probably that's the reason why they stop this history in our schools, because it is, to me, it has become a folk day issue. So yeah, on the long run, anyone who has a fact to this can come and challenge what I am saying. Mishi Mama so Oduduwa Onse Baba Yoruba. And again, some people said idol dieting. Kò ń ṣe dieting kankan, òun kọ́ l'Ọ̀rúnmìlà. Wọ́n yàtọ̀ síra wọn gédégbé. Àlejò lòun, ayé tí ń jáyé kóhun tẹ̀ tó wá sí Ifẹ̀ rárá, ayé tí ń jáyé. Tàbí ta ló ń dádé Oduduwa ní Lagos State? Ta ló ń dé l'Ondo? Àwọn ló ń dé l'Èkìtì? Bí àdé tó gbé wá ni o. All these things, we just need to get them right. I've been trying to tell my friends, but I noticed something. Most people that are from Ife, they don't want to hear this. And this is the simple truth. I told Joseph, only Joseph, unlikely go man jẹ́ descendant of Oduduwa. Ó jẹ́ àwọn tó bá bẹ̀ ní descendant, ló jẹ́ descendant. And that's the truth. How will you now say àlejò ní bàbá ẹ̀? Àlejò ń ṣe bàbá tèmi, kò tí èmi àti Oduduwa àti ẹ̀ mi ò lè sọ bóyá àjọ níbi ní connection, but from Ife, not at all. And I still doubt Ife being the cradle of Yoruba. It's a lie. Cradle báwo? Ṣé bẹ́ẹ̀ Ife yẹn àwọn ìlú mi ò exist mọ́ ni? So we need to get things right. To get things right. So I have challenged people here. They should tell us, kí ni modernization tó ṣe sí Yorùbá tá lè tọ́ka sí pé Oduduwa ló ṣe léyìn òun la ṣe ń ṣe báyìí? Nothing. Ṣógun ni? Is it our mode of life? Bedu Tamalu is from Benin. That Pakaja táwọn ọba olóyè máa ń lò bí skirt báyìí gbogbo nǹkan báyìí is of Benin origin. Can they mention one empire from Ife? Like Empire Ife Lele. So we just need to get this thing right. We need to get it right instead of mislead Araba. I was just tired of talking. I like video, but it's just because of I don't have much time. Just like what I did to Kilon Porukwe, the history of Awori in Lagos State. Yes, I read Lagos and its environment section. I read it more than 10 times before I take a critique on it. Many things are wrong. We need to get them right. They are worried. I think I have done justice to that. And while I was doing that justice, I said, if anyone has contrary view about this, they can come up. But today, I haven't seen any. Because it's good to make research. When they tell us, lo nibi, wa bere pe báwo ló ṣe jẹun, wọ́n ṣàlàyé. Àwọn àgbàlagbà wọ́n sọ fún wa báyìí ní báyìí. Èmi wa àgbàlagbà náà máa sọ. Not everything àgbàlagbà say that is always right. Àgbàlagbà náà gba research ni. But we people of today, we have become somewhat lazy. Àfẹ́ ṣe kankan. If the white man has not done àwọn nǹkan tó ṣe sílẹ̀ ní document going from one places, sincerely, àníri kankan dé bá. What are we doing of today? Kí la ń ṣe láti lè jẹ́ kí àwọn ibi tó ṣókùnkùn kí mọ́lẹ̀ bá? If you have any knowledge within you and you don't display it out at the right time to affect the society positively, then if you die with it, it is a waste. Waste, eh? No one is assured of tomorrow. The little you know, let people learn from you. If you say it, if they don't accept it, oyato. So let us do the right thing. I belong to that school of thought that Oduduwa kò ṣe bàbá Yorùbá. If anybody has contrary view about that, we can engage ourselves. I would prefer video. I think Billy saw me, a friend of mine. I wish he joined this conversation so that we can test knowledge. I will still maintain that Oduduwa kò ṣe deity. Bí àwọn Ọ̀rúnmìlà, bí àwọn Ṣàngó, Ògún, Èṣù. I'm not talking about Èṣù Tọ́lọ́run lè bọ́lẹ̀, but the messenger Èṣù gangan. I guess they call it the PRO. Ohun ojú wọn lọ náà, Oduduwa ojú wọn lọ. Báwo lèèyàn ṣe máa wá láti Saudi Arabia tó máa wá ju àwọn nǹkan tí wá lọ? How? Báwo lèèyàn ṣe máa wá láti Sudan? Tó bá jẹ́ gbà tó dé Ifẹ̀, ìmúra à ń lo fìlà, à ń lo ṣíkí, ó change sí mode of ọwẹ́ láwàní. Òun làwọn ń lò lè wò sí ó ti modernize, òun ló ṣe. But nothing has changed. When you go to Ilorin, when Alimi came to Ilorin, at least I read modernization now. When you go to this compound, Balogun, Fulani, Gambari, you will see them wearing kilompe àwọn turban yẹn. Èèyàn ti máa mọ̀ pé ìtorí ibi tẹ́ni yẹn ti wá, ó ní effect lórí wọn. But what does Oduduwa change here? If anybody call me Oduduwa, I can fight that person. I can fight that person because it is wrong. I have even seen people on Shadra Loluko Oduduwa. I was just like, oh boy, you are just calling someone like you. So are those people coming from the angle of religion? Let me state it clearly. I don't argue religion. Okay, my family is a multi-religion family. A ní Christian bẹ́ẹ̀, a ní Muslim, a ní àwọn oníṣẹ̀ṣe, mẹ́ta ó pé. So tí Christian bá ń ṣọdún, èmi máa ń jẹ wọn confirm. Táwa náà bá dẹ̀ ń pa irọ́ wa, how will I say my family will not come and join me? So I'm not coming from religion aspects. I'm not coming from religion aspects. If I want to come from religion aspects, àwọn tó fẹ́ wá lè ṣe yẹn, but me, I'm not coming from religion aspect. I don't do religion, but I think that is appealing to logic. We must be able to think and come up. It's like some people want to join. Probably I'm trying to add. I guess even want to join. Probably have something wants to contribute. To me, and they have not been able to prove that. You cannot say a stranger comes from somewhere. And welcome on board, Mr. Ibn. Father, and I've come to clear this point. Another angle I would like us to also look at is the Oyo Empire. We had this. If Oyo Empire, some people say, was founded by Oromiyo. Oromiyo happens to be Omo Oduduwa. But in secondary school, they told us that Oduduwa has a child, just a child called Okonbi. That he has a child called Okonbi who gave birth to seven. But it is another story again. Ní Saudi Arabia tó ti ń bọ̀, ọmọ mélòó ló bí síbẹ̀, ìyàwó mélòó ló fẹ́. And when you look at the period of the war of this Islamic war against the idol worshippers, one can say what has been existing thousands of years, more than 12,000 to 13,000 years. Even Jesus has come. Our prophet oríṣiríṣi ti wá. So how will someone tí ayé tí exist tó máa wá sí Ifẹ̀ wá di ibi tí Yorùbá ti ṣẹ̀ wá? Kò yà mí lẹ́nu. Àní Yorùbá fẹ́ yàtọ̀ sí Yorùbá táwa sọ báyìí, tí Ọ̀yọ́ state yàtọ̀, tí Òṣogbo yàtọ̀, even tó ṣe jọ wà lọ́ṣun state, tí àwọn Tèjìgbò lọ́ṣun state yàtọ̀, tí Lajẹ yàtọ̀. So what are we then saying? So to me, if anybody wants to come for that, I am ready. If I am wrong, I will accept your theory. But you need to bring something that is concrete. Bring something that is concrete. Àwọn Ìjẹ̀bú náà wọn kì í ṣe ọmọ Odùduwà. So why are we trying to limit ourselves? It is better for Yoruba. The Káàárọ̀ Oòjíire kò ní ọ̀kan ṣe pẹ̀lú Odùduwà. Káàárọ̀ Oòjíire is greeting. Káàárọ̀ ṣoòjí dáadáa. So and again, the issue of Benin and Ife, I think there is a synergy. And synergy and what is why there is a synergy. Ní Oduduwa no, because even in Ife, the truth, from available information, we have the unique clan and we have the Oduduwa clan. Àwọn unique clan, because Ogun náà ti jọba bẹ̀rẹ̀, àwọn unique clan ló wà lórí oyè báyìí. Oduduwa clan, I guess, I'm not sure they are on throne now from available information. So these are things we need to orientate ourselves on. And to bá lọ́mọ yọ Oduduwa lóhun, ó wá prove ẹ̀ fún mi. Ó gbọ́dọ̀ lè prove abẹ́. Tó bá ti lè prove ẹ̀ ọkùnrin ṣọmọ Oduduwa, and the modern Oduduwa tó ń sọ is fucked. Because báwọn bàbá wa ṣe múra láyé àtijọ́ la ṣe múra, àwọ̀ ṣíkẹ́ àwọ̀ agbádá àfìfìlà sí. Saudi Arabia ò múra bẹ́ẹ̀ náà, up till now wọ́n múra bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n dẹ̀ ń jẹ oúnjẹ táwọn ń jẹ àtọ̀. Wọ́n ní èṣù ní àwọn òléṣù ní kí lọ́ọ́ korúkọ ẹ̀, bóyá àwọn òòṣà tó ń bọ̀. Kò sí èṣù, àwa aléṣù, alóògùn, aníṣàngó. We have this deity. Àwọn òde níbẹ̀, so ibo ló ti wá kó Ògún wá ló ti kó Ṣàngó wá. Àyíké tẹ̀sán sọ́nà àwọn òkè, ibi sì ti kó Ògún tirẹ̀ wá àti Ṣàngó tẹ̀. If you have any issue with this, I am available and I will respond to it all. So the next time I want to do something on reorientation about the Awuri people. Also, we need to keep on doing this so that dear we are living foundation, I live mobility, I live because I have noticed that people confuse compound with house. Man confuse them around. Like I am from this compound. Compound in Motiwa. People only one in compound. Come and relate rara, and they will not relate. So there is compound, there is house. To ye ba ilé ló máa ń mú ọmọ yìí, compound kọ́ ló máa ń mú ilé oníkálukú ni. So we'll still work on this, and also I am working on Olofin Ogunfunlere presently, and all that surrounds him. Gbogbo àwọn ọmọ tó bí genuine amarile. So if you belong to the Olofin stock, you know Olofin. Tó bá jẹ́ the Benin stock belongs even if it is the Ogu people, you will know. So Ọlọ́run a máa fún wa ṣe díẹ̀díẹ̀, a máa gbìyànjú lórí nǹkan tí à ń ṣe. Èmi ò ń ṣe history student, I'm a science student, but we'll keep on exploring all part of knowledge. We explore all part of knowledge. I greet my brother Akim Ogun Babs. He set up something on social media trying to bring all the Awuri people together. And there have been many times, somebody write up, I'll go there to try and buy Lushiri. I have seen write up on Joy by Banco, which it is not like that. Buy Lushiri. I am open up for any form of engagement on this Oduduwa. So I still remain myself Oga OGA Omoyemi Aziz, aka SP.